State of Israel does not exist because the Holocaust occurred. And when I said that in Berlin, I actually was called in for a whole bunch of meetings telling me that's not exactly what we teach. I want to make that very clear. The State of Israel is not a 76-year European colonialist reparation prize for the murder of 6 million Jews. That is not what the State of Israel is. And if you need referencing, just read the Declaration of Independence of this 76-year young miracle, the nation state of a prototypical indigenous people. Why is that important for me to say? Because indigeneity, like all other legal concepts that have been weaponized, has meaning. Prototypically indigenous that speaks the same language, Hebrew, and reads the same book, the Bible, and traverses the same land, Israel, and practices the same customs and rituals for thousands of years. And that indigenous people returned to our ancestral homeland after thousands of years of exile and persecution that included the Holocaust. And that state, by the way, is also committed to equality. That's not me. That's Israel's Declaration of Independence, mission, vision, values of this miracle in which we are now sitting in the capital of. The understanding that that has been a part of the story, and it enables us to reclaim the Jewish story and even anti-Semitism that is not just a universal hate. It's a very particular hate. It's a hatred of Jews that has existed for thousands of years. And I mentioned, has mutated over time, developing strains that need to be identified at their time, latching on to guiding social constructs, religion, the Jews as the murderers of Jesus, latching on to science, the Jews as an inferior race, latching on to human rights that was created to ensure an infrastructure that never again. So Holocaust education, without the understanding of what it is that anti-Semitism looks like today as an ever-mutating virus that latches onto the guiding social construct of the time, religion, science, and the liberal and the secular religion of our times, human rights, in order to be able to mutate to what is the new strain of a given time that demonizes and delegitimizes and applies double standards systematically, whether it's to the individual Jew, barring them from an equal place in society, or from the proverbial Jew among the nations, the State of Israel, barring it from an equal place in the family of nations that it was intended to be. And so the intersection of the responses to 10/7 in international institutions, in university spaces, in social media spaces, and on the streets, pulled off many, many masks that found, for example, people who belonged in progressive spaces completely isolated. I speak in Reform synagogues where a rabbah tells me that she dedicated her entire life, 40 years worth, to interfaith work, and not one of her colleagues has reached out on or since 10/7. And I want to make very clear, as I do in many of those spaces, there was nothing progressive about 10/7. There is nothing progressive about burning of whole families and raping of women so badly their legs can't be straightened for burial, and mutilation and abduction and other standing violation of international law that still holds Israeli civilians in the terror tunnels that Hamas built with international humanitarian aid.